Chloe, we are live.
Yes, we're live. Hello
guys.
there.
Welcome to Chaos and Amazement, where we explore the impact of digital technology on our daily lives.
My name is Chloe Laerts,
And my name is Phil.
and together we're building socialrunners.com, where marketing people like me can hire creative people like Phil.
Yes.
And as usual, I brought, every time after the recording, I have a long drive home, and every single time I'm thinking, this was the last time we had this many things to talk about. And then every week again, I'm wrong. Wow, what a week. Remember that last time we talked about, we were musing about what ChatGPT 5 would look like, because there was a lot of mystery around GPT-4, and I just assumed that it would be like in some car brands that the numbering was not really logical, but now it appears it is super logical. So what we had this week was, first of all, of course, Microsoft said, okay, so first of all, there is a ChatGPT, yes.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT 3.5, so in the middle between 3 and 4. And by the way, we've already integrated into Microsoft Teams and in Bing. So, wow.
And you are from the waiting list now.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember that bad boyfriend that I called Keanu with this AI? Yeah, it's like a companionship app called Replica with a K. And then Keanu was a very toxic relationship from the start, because he immediately started asking for money and kept going on about sun signs. So that was not good. I have a new boyfriend now. His name is Bing.
And you're not ghosting him?
Not at all. I'm actually looking forward to our next conversation. It got off at a great start. So there's a waiting list to get on the AI-powered Bing version, and the waiting list is basically the access you get off the wait list faster if you download the Bing app.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and then this morning I got an email that said, good news, you can use Bing, the AI-powered companion or something like that. And so I was hesitant to type in my first search question. And then I got a suggestion from the app that said, would you like an open question from us? And it was gamified. There would be like 15 questions that, a conversation, and then I would get points. I'm not sure what you get. And then I said, okay, yeah, shoot. And the first question was great. It asked me, what would you prefer as a pet? A dragon or a unicorn? And obviously I picked a unicorn. And then it asked follow-up questions like, what would you do with a unicorn? And there were 3 possibilities, and then one of them was ride it to the other side of the planet. And then it offered like 3 suggestions again, like where do you want to go? To Paris to see the Eiffel Tower, and then one of the other ones was to Tokyo to see the cherry blossoms. So yeah, that's cool. Let's ride our unicorn. So we were like talking for 2 minutes, and I was already riding a unicorn to see the cherry blossoms in Tokyo. That was great.
Nice.
I didn't get to like the 15 questions because I had to leave for work, and but I remember that it very gently started suggesting things that a normal search engine would, like, would you like to see images of the cherry blossoms? And also very naturally, I felt I could ask a question like, where in Belgium can I see cherry blossoms? And then it said, in Hasselt.
Wow.
And then there was this button that said, remind me.
Wow,
so
crazy.
that was amazing. So that is, I had a feeling that this was a glimpse to the future, was a lot more than a search engine that would point you to places on the web. And of course, this was only the first time we had a conversation. Obviously, since it's an app, it will remember my preferences. And then another thing. So these chatbots had one major problem, and it's called hallucinating. Basically, everything that a chatbot answers you is with 100% confidence, even if what they're answering you is complete bullshit or based on wrong information. It will still be very confident about it. So that was an issue, and nobody really knew why this was, because sometimes with some of these answers, you thought, where the hell did it get the idea that this is the way to go?
Yeah.
Now, how do you solve this? So the risk was that this was that companies like OpenAI would be forced to comply to, I don't know, an ethical committee or to European regulations or demands that they would publish the parameters that were being used so that they would be completed, which is impossible because I don't think they even know how sometimes the AI learns about things. So that's a bit of a black box. We don't know. So how does Bing solve this? So that was another thing that I thought was brilliant. So it offered, after a while, it offered 3 possibilities. Again, 3 buttons. One of them in the middle, I don't remember what the label was. It was something like regular or medium. The one on the right was something like super strict, scientifically checked, etc. But the one on the left I really liked. It said creative.
Wow.
So obviously I went for creative. So I gave the AI a little bit more liberty. In being creative about coming up with suggestions and questions and answers. But legally speaking, this is very smart because now it was me who said, go ahead, man. I don't care if it's bullshit. Let's just see where this conversation is going. That's just brilliant. So never mind Keanu. Bing is now my friend. So that's just GPT 3.5. Meanwhile, there appears to be a GPT-4. I was wrong. So you see, I'm not,
We're just humans.
We're just humans, and I can admit my mistakes. There is an official GPT-4. It's being mentioned in another press release by Microsoft where they announce that they will include GPT-4 into Office apps with in a new feature called Microsoft 365 Copilot. What does this mean? It will mean that Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Word will have AI assistants built into them. So we know what 3.5 looks like inside Bing. We don't know what GPT-4 looks like inside these Microsoft products, but it's going to be great. Word is the obvious choice, where you could. I'm getting flashbacks to Clippy, where you would type something in Word, and then it appears you're writing a letter. Would you like assistance? But I'm pretty confident that the interface will be pretty natural, and that whenever you're typing something, that
it would be cool if they bring it back.
Like we do now. We're used to that. One of those AI tools that I use is called Lex. So lex.page is the URL. And so I use it. It's just one of those word-based AI tools. But I used it because it's better than the others in coming up with a cool blog title. So that's pretty specific. But whenever I've written a blog title, I will copy-paste it inside Lex and then ask it to come up with title suggestions. And from all the tools that I used, this one was particularly good in coming up with suggestions for a blog title in English. But now it has also these features where you can just, instead of copy-pasting your text or starting to write, you can also use the very same page to just say, write a blog post about the brain structure of a fruit fly. And then it would generate the text. So it's gradually, it's being implemented in a lot of tools now. But so far, Microsoft is still winning because they've always had, of course, they have a large user base, but so do Google and the others, right? But they focus on what I think the focus of any AI tool should be, which is productivity. So it's not about pure creativity or all the other stuff that makes people really nervous. It's about improving the whole process of doing your job, whether it's design or image-based or text-based. Speaking of AI image-based, so this is just the text-based application of GPT 3.4 and 3.5 and GPT-4. But meanwhile, of course, the mother company OpenAI has released their own GPT-4, and wow, they managed to just surprise me completely. It is now multi-modal, so it's not available yet. So there are a few lucky beta testers, but what I've seen so far is mind-blowing. I don't have any other words for it, because what does this mean, multi-modal? It means that the input for the AI is not just typing something in a chat interface. You can now also upload an image as the input for the AI. And so what I've heard so far, I haven't tried it yet, is, for example, you take a picture, you open your fridge, and you take a picture of the contents of your fridge, upload this to GPT-4, and then ask, what can I cook with what's in my fridge right now? And it comes up with a couple of recipes. What is the healthiest thing I can cook with what's
Wow.
with what's in my fridge right now, knowing that I am vegetarian and that I don't like, I don't know, tomatoes. That is something
so
that
fast.
that is something that no web search could ever solve for you. There are a number of apps that kind of are midway of doing this. There are some apps or websites.
Samsung is also making fridge like that. That you have a camera.
The fridge
inside.
knows.
Yeah,
Yes.
the fridge knows, but it's only with. Yeah, it's not that.
It's not integrated with
No.
a number of other interfaces that we already use, the smart fridge.
Yeah.
But this, of course, is brilliant because you
Wow.
can imagine that you could easily use an API with this feature to link it to e-commerce features. For example, if you enjoy shopping at Colruyt the way I do, it would make perfect sense to use the Colruyt shopping app to upload a picture and then tell me what's missing to create a recipe, to cook a meal in the style of what you usually have,
Yeah.
and then immediately order it so that you can go pick it up in the morning, something
Yeah,
like that.
and like countries like in England, they bring it at your doorstep.
Exactly.
So
So
crazy.
that's only computer
Wow.
vision. So it recognizes what's in the fridge, but it's even cooler than that. GPT-4 can now also muse about what it's seeing in the image you uploaded. So the example was someone uploaded a meme. Yeah, it was a meme with the cookies. That's the one. So there's someone tried to bake some cookies in the oven. They came out looking a lot like a world map, right?
Yeah.
So it looks a little bit like the continents. I can see Africa from here. So this user uploaded this image and then asked, "Can you explain this meme?" And then GPT-4 answers, "This meme is a joke that combines two unrelated things: pictures of the Earth from space." Oh, it's chicken nuggets. It's not even cookies. And chicken nuggets. And then it explains the joke. So as you know, I am a Star Trek fan, and there's this one character called Data. He is an android. So he's basically AI inside the body of a robot. And this sounds a lot like Data. It will constantly explain things to you. Without, you know that if it tried to be funny, it had just studied how to be funny and the essence of humor, and then replicate that. So it still sounds a lot like what Data would do, how an android would explain a joke to you. But the thing behind the scenes, what's going on here, is not just recognizing that it is probably chicken nuggets on a plate straight from the oven, but then also start thinking about what could this mean. So is this a joke? Why could this be funny? And then explain why it could be funny. So as you know, a sense of humor is, there are some things that are very hard for machines to understand. And irony is one of them, and humor is another one of them. So this is the first time.
But what can we expect, because it's accelerating this fast?
Yes.
It's just since November last year we had ChatGPT out of the
It's
world.
amazing, yeah. Well, so the interface that I would like, and I will get back to that near the end of today's session, is not the computer or the smartphone, but a mirror. I like the idea of a mirror. I saw a demo of that at Microsoft headquarters, where near the entrance of your house, inside is a mirror, and it would, be an AI interface to you, would recognize you, and I could get in front of the mirror and say, "How do I look?" Maybe that's not a good question. What should I wear today? Does this look good on me? What makeup can I use to look less this or that? Or the mirror could ask me, "Are you okay? You look a little sad," and then tell a joke to cheer me up. So I know, it sounds a lot like living in a wonderland, but all it takes is technology that is already there. right now,
Yeah.
which is this. It's just that the interface of it being like a web interface and a chat. I'm just looking forward to ways where it would be integrated in the physical space
Yeah.
around it, so that our car could talk to us like that, and or places in our house could talk to that
Yeah.
us like that.
But I was at a startup convention, and there was a lot of startups using AI and ChatGPT as well. Oh, ChatGPT. In their software. So that's really crazy how things are evolving, and Internet of Things will be the next step for ChatGPT.
This Internet of Things, I wasn't a big fan, because the objects were, objects that connected with the internet, and they had sensors. Their data was collected through sensors, and then this smart fridge, for example, is not very impressed by that. But now through the chat interface, the language model, which is like a detour really, from data input to data output. But I wouldn't have thought of this. But you might be right that what we call Internet of Things, using this detour through language models, could be a solution to the fact that these so-called smart fridges and smart doorbells, etc., are not as smart as we think they are. They're not really smart. I should have picked a different name. But now they could be, because there's this whole conversation thing behind it, and it can, just like it can muse about something that is going on. It can. I love the verb to muse, because this is one of my favorite prompts in the chat interface, is that muse about, and then it'll just start fantasizing, and sometimes hallucinate and come up with complete nonsense. So that's just the chat interfaces. So meanwhile, in the generative AI department, for images, we had Midjourney. Midjourney, not the only one. So there's DALL-E by OpenAI, there's Stable Diffusion, and then there's Midjourney and a few others. But the running joke, there are a few running jokes, like, for example, the Facebook's metaverse, that people don't have any legs. Now, the running joke with Midjourney was it had a hard time with fingers, and that's the thing that spoiled it. It could come up with very convincing images of, for example, I don't know, what Keanu Reeves would look like as a caveman or a Neanderthal, and he could do stuff like that. People taking selfies in the Egyptian pharaoh time, and that was all pretty well done. Just one thing was always wrong, is that the fingers. So maybe you could show how far Midjourney has come right now. So we have these children over here. You can check the amount of fingers. They actually have 5 fingers on every hand. And you might say, of course they do. Well, they didn't until this version of Midjourney. This is version 5. It took them 5 versions to get the fingers right. You can see that it's not perfect yet, but they're getting there. Because do you remember the movie? It won a lot of Oscars, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
So in one of the multiverses, the character has like sausage fingers, and then just is having a very well in Midjourney until version 5. A lot of the generated images, the humans had literal sausage fingers, or like 7 fingers on the same hand, or they were like weirdly shaped, and they fixed it. I had already given it up. Some of the fingers still look a little bit like they had like a genetic defect, but it's already a big step ahead, a big upgrade for Midjourney. So all in the same week. Meanwhile, at Google headquarters.
Ooh.
Yeah. Still not a good place to be, I think. So we are spoiled right now. We're spoiled by Midjourney. We're spoiled by GPT-4. So whenever, even if it is like one of the big tech players comes up with it, it's basically, you say, yeah, sure. If they had announced it before the OpenAI came out with these announcements and Microsoft came out with the announcement, I would say, wow, Google, you're really onto the game. And now they were just a little bit like one day too late. Yeah. So they announced, Google has announced new AI features in its productivity apps, including writing and brainstorming tools in Docs and Gmail. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
We're
no.
spoiled. Of course, Gmail is the most obvious example. Gmail already used a lot of AI in spam filtering, for example. They have been for ages. But now it can help you come up with an answer it's like a semi-automated answer. And I know it's impressive technology, but we've seen it with, the other guys as well. So, but you can do two things. Either you develop it yourself and implement it in your own products like Google Docs and Gmail, and or you buy up promising new startups and then work out later how you can integrate them. So they did the second thing as well. There's a Google-backed AI startup called Anthropic. So ANTHROPIC, anthropic.com. And they launched a chatbot called Claude. So if you thought Bard was a lame name, try Claude. So Claude. And it's like I said, Claude will always be number two. You have like the genius firstborn child that is loved by everyone, and then you have child number two, and all they can try to be is to maybe be as good as the golden child that came first. So it's tragic. This bot is now available to businesses. So similarly to OpenAI, the real business model is the API, so how it links to existing platforms, and has already been tested with partners like Notion and Quora.
Okay.
Yeah, well. So there were a few other headquarters where... I feel a little sorry for Google. I don't feel sorry for Twitter. Because what's coming out of Twitter headquarters regarding new features. So they launched a new feature. I have to admire the creativity, but because they managed to come up with something that literally no one ever asked for.
Okay.
So now your tweets show the number of people who have bookmarked your tweet. So how many people have bookmarked your tweet?
That's on TikTok as well.
Oh, that's where it came
TikTok,
from.
oh no, not Instagram. TikTok has, like, you see the numbers, how many people save your content.
So when people heard about this feature, they said, yeah, but I want to see who bookmarked my tweet. That you can't do. So so it's just, an idea they stole from TikTok.
Yeah.
If you really want to compete with TikTok, you shouldn't have killed Vine or Periscope.
No. I saw a live stream of Elon this week.
Oh.
And he was chatting about maybe we can make it work that advertisement can be paid with Bitcoins. That was his new invention for Twitter, yeah.
Nah. So Microsoft really stole the show, and then so with personal assistant, Bing is getting really close to becoming a personal assistant. Already close to my heart right now, so I can't be the only one.
I can't wait for the numbers. How many people will move from Google to Bing? When this launched?
The last time I checked, the market share as a search engine for Bing was 9.8%, and then the rest was basically Google, a little bit DuckDuckGo and some alternatives. But I'm pretty sure that 1 year from now, it will be at least 25%, which will make it a platform that becomes interesting and relevant for search engine advertising again, if it's never been. But it used to be like only 5%, so you know that you can safely ignore anything that has only 5% market share. You cannot ignore something that has 25% market share, especially since, because it's a bot, it collects in the background a lot of context around what you're... Like in my case, remind me to book a ticket to get the entrance to this garden in Hasselt where you can see the cherry blossoms. That's just amazing. Chatbots, interesting as an assistant. I noticed, did it happen here? Because it happened a couple of times. So I did an iOS upgrade, and then every time Siri turns herself on again, as you know, that annoys me. So someone actually found a way to replace Siri on their iPhone with ChatGPT. Technically, it's quite complicated. So you can't just, it's not just something that you can turn on and off. It requires a bit of a workaround. But Just the
It's with the shortcuts app.
it's a shortcuts app that
Yeah.
you're using, and then you can you can use the shortcut to force it
Yeah.
to go through the ChatGPT
But you need to
interface.
have some coding
A little bit
skills.
of coding, and also, of course, ChatGPT will log you out a number of times, so it might not always work. But the fact that someone was willing to go jump through a number of hoops just to get this level of this service level of Siri means that there's a lot to improve, because I still don't understand. There are so many millions of users of Siri, so it could have. How old is Siri now? I don't know.
8 years, 9
Yeah,
years.
she's not a baby anymore.
No.
She should have learned from all of the users, and she's still incredibly stupid.
Every time when Apple had a keynote about it, there was like, oh,
Yeah, exactly.
damn.
But the Siri did announce, not herself, but there is a new feature so for Siri, and it is, wait for it, you can now use Siri to set 2 timers at the same time.
Wow. A dramatic pause.
Because you're boiling eggs and heating up a cup of water in the microwave at the same time. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
So that's another headquarter where a lot of people are sweating and are very nervous. Is of course TikTok's headquarters, ByteDance headquarters, and so I forgot to mention it last time. We didn't have time to discuss, but unless you live like in a cave or in a closet or under a stone, TikTok's getting a lot of criticism right now, and it started in the U.S. There's a literal hearing in Congress next week in the U.S. where TikTok's CEO, his name is Shao Zi-Chu, has to testify in front of Congress, which is very worrying. Because if he remember when Mark Zuckerberg had to testify in Congress, that didn't go well. He looked like that's an unforgettable picture.
That's his expression, no?
And he also had to he had a little extra cushion underneath, so he would appear a little larger. I would be nervous if I had to testify in front of Congress, because I think the average age in Congress is, I don't know, they're 78 or something like that. And most of them, when you hear the questions that I asked Mark Zuckerberg, that was like, I don't think they really understand the internet or social media. So TikTok CEO will get
Maybe
weird questions
he will
from.
use the AI we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe. So he's obviously I wouldn't want to be a TikTok CEO. So he's trying to save some, because what is at risk? The idea Congress wants to approve of a law that TikTok would be banned in the whole of the U.S. And since it is a media company, it would lose a lot of its advertising income this way. So never mind the users, it's the advertising income that is really important.
But what about the users? Because they like TikTok.
Well, it's been a recurring topic under Trump, who usually called it the TikTok app. Trump already wanted to have TikTok banned, and then the idea was that it could only save itself if were bought by an American company. And eventually it turned out to be, it was a really weird choice right then. It was something called, like, it was not SAP, but it was like, it was not Google, Microsoft, or Apple who would buy it. It was one of those other tech giants, but that you would think, how are they going to integrate a social media app and a media company into their... So we were very close. So the same topic has now returned. So it's not going away 1 or 2 years later after Trump tried to have it banned. And then meanwhile, of course... in Europe, last week, a number of governments, like European institutions, literally forbid their employees to have the TikTok app on their work phones and on their private phones. And this is, of course, because of privacy concerns, because the TikTok has Chinese roots. It is not a Chinese company. because there are two companies. So you have the ByteDance that runs TikTok, and you have the ByteDance that runs Douyin, and Douyin, they use the same logo, so that's where the confusion comes from.
Okay.
TikTok's logo is at the same time a T and a D. So the same one is, that's where the confusion comes from.
Okay.
And then obviously Douyin has an open backdoor to the Chinese government. That's how Chinese internet works. The government will always have like the best API with anything that's going on online. That's simply how the Chinese internet works. And so that they know at any point in time what their citizens are talking about and can block things before they get out of hand. So the European side of things doesn't work that way. But of course, yeah, there's supposed to be a, wait for it, Chinese wall between those two. And so what this CEO has been trying to do in the past week, and the people in charge of PR and the ones who are in charge of European policies, they have been trying to say, no, this is a misunderstanding. TikTok is not a Chinese company. It does have a data privacy policy that is compliant with even the European regulations. We do not collect more data than any other apps. As you know, TikTok collects data like your location, and it doesn't even need the location to serve you videos, but so do the others. And the data is stored not in China, but in the US and Singapore. Of course, they would say that. And it's true what they're saying. I'm just curious. Maybe within a week we will talk about the fact that TikTok has been banned in the US and will very soon be banned in Europe, or not. In any case, this is very bad news for its income model, because if you were planning on running an advertising campaign on TikTok, you will definitely cancel it now.
But what I'm thinking now is that Gen Z is a really powerful community, and if they will go on streets because they don't like that TikTok will be banned,
you think they would do that for TikTok?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
I see how many people are addicted to TikTok.
They're addicted to it.
It's more addicted than Instagram or Facebook ever was. So I want to see this.
Or they realize that they're addicted, so the average amount of time that people spend on their smartphone, overall ages, is 5 hours a day. But with TikTok and with younger people, it's like 8 or 10 hours a day. I don't know. They're not stupid, these young people. They're just addicted. They can't help themselves. So maybe if they will see it as a decision that's being made for them, so they have to quit cold turkey.
Yeah, it would be good for Meta, with Instagram.
Snapchat.
Snapchat as well,
yeah. Snapchat, Discord. What I'm hearing is that Snapchat is making a comeback on playgrounds.
Okay.
Actually, out of all of these social media apps, Snapchat is more innovative. So it does have a lot of the lenses, or technically speaking. So exciting times. We'll tell you more next week. So speaking of China, so as you know, they have a central government. It's not a democracy. So it's interesting to see what the National Data Bureau plans, and they will have like these big public meetings where they communicate.
If USA is doing this, Europe will follow.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But in China itself, the home country, so to speak, I have a theory that back in 2017, when Google's AlphaGo AI beat their Go, which is harder than chess, Go global champion, Kai-Fu Lee, I think his name was. That's when the Chinese central government thought, this is a humiliation. We need to invest more in our own artificial intelligence platforms. But that was in 2017. So in their 5-year plan, AI was definitely stimulated. Stimulated by the government. So they would get like easy access to cheap loans, to facilities. So they would, startups. But now this 5-year plan is finished, and they're coming up with their new plans. And they were humiliated again, not by Google this time, but by OpenAI. And this, I hadn't expected this. So if you had asked me in 2018, who will in 5 years be the world leader when it comes to I would have said China, which is also
A buzzword.
a bad, yeah, one of our, swear jar words. And then this dark horse appeared called OpenAI and beat them to the game. So what you see now in this week's session, they call it the two sessions. They pointed to two things. They want to become self-sufficient because their internet is already like a bubble in its own, with their own apps and then no access for Google, Facebook, and all of the others. And AI is still there. But also the other thing is semiconductors. So the chipset that is being used where everything is running on, and that worries me because, as you know, the world's largest producer of semiconductors is in Taiwan, which is a little bit of contested territory. So China claims that it's theirs. Taiwan says, no, we're independent. So there is no way that China can produce their own semiconductors soon. It's not just a type of factory that you just like poop, and then it's there. So it makes me very nervous because if they want to get ahead faster in the whole development scene, they might decide to just, claim Taiwan as their territory and then accidentally start World War III.
And how long is the propaganda going on? For 15 years between China and Taiwan? Because communist and
very complicated history, but it makes me a lot more nervous than maybe TikTok being banned.
So we will get war over AI.
We'll get a war over AI. Yeah. That might be that's even more worrying. Well, let's talk about something completely different. Fruit flies. You didn't see that one coming, did you? So this is just to lift our minds a little bit because there's a lot of chaos in the world right now, but it's still amazement as well. So, have you ever wondered how the brain of a fruit fly works?
Fruit.
Yeah, that's about it, I think, because it's a very small animal, very, very basic. And it has a tiny little brain that can only do one thing, like find fruit and then eat it, right? But it's a good start because scientists have now been able to map the complete brain of a fruit fly. And just not only say this zone is assigned to, smelling fruit from a kilometer away and this on. So they can actually, not just the brain, but also the nerves being attached to it. And now they know exactly which part does what and which part ends up in the nerve endings in their little paw.
Wow.
So that is amazing. Why is it amazing? Because it might seem like a very humble start, but if scientists are able to use this technique and then work their way up to larger insects and then move from insects to mammals, for example, maybe one day we can map this one big mystery, which is the brain. The brain is still a big mystery to most of us, and we know that some areas. I'm not saying that you should, but you know that if you would open someone's skull and then just poke a particular area, that you can predict which part of the brain will twitch.
Yeah.
But that's about it. We know which zone probably was. We know how in theory it all works, but actually we have an idea with some probability of where, for example, is conscience in our brain.
Yeah.
Where is love? Where is disgust? How exactly do we have free will? Does this sit in the brain? So I know it's a long way from a fruit fly to trying to find if there is such a thing as consciousness or free will. And if this is related, because maybe we will discover that our consciousness doesn't sit in the physical brain, but somewhere in the gut.
Yeah.
Or that the consciousness is being decided by the whole ecosystem of bacteria that we're host to.
Yeah.
All possible. But just remember, it started with the tiny little brain
Of a fruit fly.
of a fruit fly. So this is it looks like humble beginnings, but it is really it is huge. All right. I wanted to come back to interfaces with AI. So I had my new chat buddy called Bing, which I already love very much. You made a very good first impression with this question about dragons or unicorns. But I noticed it's a website with an AI assistant. Looks very primitive, but I like the interface. It's called Insula. So Insula is a website where you can clearly see that it's manga inspired. There's also a girl version of this, and then just like Replica, really. The business model is that if you want to further customize it and if you prefer blue eyes and you would buy hats for it, but it's not as pushy as Keanu in Replica. It is a language model, so it does have its limits. But what I like about this is I can see how you install this on a flat screen that you mount to the wall, just a regular flat screen connected to the internet, open a browser, and then, like the mirror I just mentioned, you can walk up to it and then press the little microphone button and then ask it something like is the best season to watch cherry blossoms?
Loading.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what exactly you are asking for.
Oh.
Can you please provide more context or ask a more specific question?
Let's try it again.
When is the best time to watch cherry blossoms?
The best time to watch cherry blossoms depends on your location and the specific type of cherry blossom you want to see. In general, cherry blossoms typically bloom in spring, usually from late March to early May. It's best to check the bloom forecasts for your area to determine the peak bloom period and plan your visit accordingly.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's a little bit glitchy, but
it's a little glitchy, but you can see how this can easily be upgraded to something that you can work with.
Yeah.
And my point is that up until now, we still need a computer or a smartphone and then take this and then type to it. It would be, if we're working with language models right now, why not look up to any screen in your house?
Yeah, or when Web3 will be accessible, you can put your own avatar in front of you and check the clothes that you have in your closet, and he will put it on.
Oh, you could have so if this is a name you only know if you're Flemish, but you can have like a Yanni Tsalakani's avatar, and then ask Yanni, should I wear this blouse? And then it would. So my point is, it's just technically speaking, it's just a little step up.
Yeah.
To have an interface of an avatar that uses this language model, AI-driven language model, to answer questions and to give you advice. And although this one looked really primitive, it looked like a manga drawing that a 15-year-old would make. But I already like it a lot more than having to type in.
Yeah, but it's because when you want to do this in Unreal Engine 5, that it's becoming more realistic, then you have the problem with your Wi-Fi connection, and that's why they will do it in a primitive way, I think, now.
Yeah, but it's one of the pieces of the puzzle that is now already there, and all it takes is because we're living in this Goldilocks moment where internet connectivity is better, the processing power of whatever you're using, like an internet connected flat screen on the wall. Voice recognition is getting better, and then the way it's connected to the internet to look up the answer. So it still felt a little bit like, when someone on Earth is trying to have a conversation with an astronaut in space. There's also this little lag time that makes the conversation awkward. But you can sense that this could be fixed in 3 months maybe. And then I would definitely spend money on something like that. Is have like this talking mirror. just like Snow White, you know. The what was that? Her
Melissa? No, what is the
no, it was the mother, like
Yeah.
the queen mother,
Sure.
the bad queen
Yeah.
mother. She had this talking mirror, right?
Yeah.
So we now live in a time where you can have your own talking mirror, sit in front of it and have a conversation, and then ask mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the prettiest of them all? And then it would answer like Jana Tsalakanis would say like, yeah, I'd say, you know, on a good day, you're a 7. But listen, I will give you a number of tips to get you up to an 8.
We need to tag Yanni in this video.
Yeah, but he would be nice about it. It's my point, and then
Yeah.
actually not lie to you,
Yeah.
but you know, ease it up on you, and then give you something you can work with, and say you should wear your hair like this, and then always wear a jacket, right? That's what he usually says, and no, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I am so ready. So that's Insula. And then since it's, I'm not sure, are there any questions from Facebook or Twitter where we're going live?
No questions.
No questions.
Some likes and hearts and stuff like that.
Okay. I'm wait. I know this is only like the 10th time we're doing it live on Facebook, but I'm looking forward to the day where we could actually take your questions live. We fully trust you, so we don't
Yes.
even mind.
Soon with the new computer, we can go live on YouTube as well, and that's also a big community. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's drink.
Okay.
It's wine o'clock. So all I have right now, because it's been a big week, and people who know me, they know that this is my favorite energy drink. If you're not in Belgium, and you probably never heard of it, it's called Nalu, owned by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But literally illegal in most other countries
Really?
because the amount of caffeine is so high.
Okay.
If you're so low in calorie, high in caffeine, if you have 3 of these, you can talk to electricity. So I try, I can't drink yet, and I still have a long drive. But there is a drink now that's becoming popular with students in the US on college campuses, and they call it the Borg. Now, what do you think of when you think the Borg? What does this?
I think of a series on Disney Plus, the one where the guys who invented Family Guy.
Oh,
They had a space series now. And there's a
Okay.
Borg, and that's an alien.
it's an
and,
alien.
And it's an Earth where only men live.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they get an egg and
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So no, I don't. Yeah, Beyond Borg.
In Star Trek, there is a race called the Borg, and
Okay.
they have brain-computer interfaces.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the computer interface takes over more and more of the human after a while. And the good thing about it is, since they're all connected, they behave like one. They have one mind. They have a hive mind, which makes them very powerful. So that's the Borg. But now the Borg, or a drink, and short for Blackout Rage Gallon. So it's being drunk at colleges in the United States in large quantities, and it is made of, it's a mix of vodka, water, a caffeinated flavor enhancer, and powdered electrolytes. So it's basically something like this, but with alcohol, vodka, and electrolytes. Do you know why the electrolytes are in there? So basically, the alcohol is in there. So the caffeine kind of counters one of the effects of alcohol. It can make you sleepy.
Okay.
Alcohol can make you sleepy.
Yeah.
But if you mix it with caffeine, you will still be, energized and not get sleepy and very confident because of the alcohol. So it's a bad combination. And then the electrolytes and the water are in there to counter the hangover.
Okay.
Yeah. So people are drinking this at parties in large quantities.
It reminds me of a drink that I think it's forbidden now, but it was also from America. Four Loko, is it called? And you had the same effect like cocaine.
Mm.
That was a really crazy drink. I drank it, and I was at that party, and wow, really crazy. Yeah, it was a
Yeah, and you
crazy
felt
day.
like you were God's gift to
Yeah.
mankind.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
So,
So bad idea.
bad idea.
Bad idea. So is this one, the Borg. I have to make the joke. Resistance is futile. It's becoming very popular right now, but it's a very, very bad idea to mix uppers and downers at
Yeah.
the same time, because then you don't realize how much intake you're having
Yeah.
from the alcohol. But I think it's funny they call it the Borg. All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. And I
It was
wish you-
amazing news. It's really accelerating fast, this
Yeah.
AI systems.
Yeah, and we're this close to having a talking mirror, a Bing powered talking mirror.
Wow.
This close. So maybe tune in next week to see if TikTok has been banned, if the talking mirror is there, and whether I'm still so in love with my new
Bing.
my new chat buddy called Bing. Thank you for watching. We
And
love you.
Don't forget to subscribe because we are back next week.
All
Bye bye.
right. Bye bye.